Hello the internet and welcome back to Launch FYI, the channel dedicated to the website builder Carrd. Today we're going to go through the changelog for September, October and November. I did one for August, but that was back in September and I just don't know where the time's gone. So we've got 3 months to catch up on. I've got 38 new features to show you, 16 new templates, 3 new font updates, including one mad big font update, and 7 icon updates as well. So there's a lot to get through, so let's just get into it. Right, so first up, we have from the 1st of September, the outline on text. Now, this is pretty simple, but it's also pretty cool. So I've just made a little template here that I've been working on, which we'll run through during the course of this video. So if you go down to outline in here, you can now set an outline and you can set the weight of it. And that's pretty cool. Looks good. Right. One out of the way. Next up, we have a template number 150. I'm not going to go into all these templates because you know where they are, you know where to find them. But yeah, there's 16 templates in the last 3 months. Another template, some new icons. So icons are always good. What have we got on here? Midjourney. If you watch my last video, I put some Pokemon characters that I made with Midjourney. So good to see them on there. Another template. It's a nice simple email sign up. Quite like that. Cool background. Then we've got some fonts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 new fonts. Now what I wanted to show you on the fonts front before we get into the really exciting update, on my fonts page, fonts.carrd.co, I've added a load of new fonts, but what I've done is I've now added them in date order, and I've also just added them as images. What was happening was I've got so many fonts on this page now that the browsers were basically just not being able to keep up with the number of fonts. So I've opted for, having discussed this with AJ at Carrd, I've opted to put them as images, and then I've also put a little description of what each font is about, just taking them from fonts.google.com. So yeah, so just check those out. There's loads of new fonts on there, which is pretty cool, but there is a bigger font update coming in a minute. Right, next up, another template number 154. And then we have a new feature, which is patterns. So Carrd have been adding a lot of patterns recently. This one is some really scary eyes. Close the eyes. I'm not a big fan of this one. It freaks me out. So I'm not going to show you this one. There are a lot more patterns we're going to get through today. But again, patterns are not that exciting. Don't really have many use cases for them. I did show you the patterns from the graphs in my last video, so you can go and click on that if you're really interested. Next up, sign up form now supports direct integration with Beehive. Beehive is an email marketing software, a bit like MailChimp, something like that. So it's always good to see you being able to integrate with additional form elements. Next up, we have another template number 155, and then we have some icons, more icons, 5 new icons, and then here we have added spacing options and mobile settings on buttons. Right, so let me just give you a quick demo of this. So let me go over to here. Right, so I've created some buttons here. Let's go into mobile view, and then if we go into the appearance settings and scroll down, and obviously make sure you're in mobile. So this is normally set to auto, but we want to make that into manual. And we now have this spacing option, which is basically just going to let us set the gap only on mobile. So if we go back to desktop, it's not changed. Go into mobile and it's different. Simple. Cool. Next up, need to swap the page. Next up, text element added indent option. This one's pretty good actually. It's I'll show you, that's what we're here for, but I like this one. So we're going to go back to desktop mode, select the text here. So just for this purpose of this, I'm going to align this left, And we now have the indent here for all. So this is just going to give you a nice little indent there. So what I could do is I could duplicate this and then have that one like that. So you just kind of like stagger in the text a little bit. The other thing that you can do is you can also adjust just the first line. So you could put that back to nothing and just have the first line indented. Probably a lot of your use cases there, not very well displayed by me there, but that is another feature. Right, back to the changelog. Where are we? Still in September. Okay. September 27th, added 3 color gradient support to gradient backgrounds. This is pretty cool. We've had gradient support for a long time. So let's go and have a look. We've had gradient support for a long time, but only for 2 colors. So this is actually a 3 color, even though it looks like there's only 2 colors. So if we go scroll down, what we have here is stop 1, stop 2, and stop 3. So stop 3 being optional. So if I got rid of that, then it's only 2. But if I wanted to add a third one in, I can add the color in there, and you can do all your regular adjustments like you could before. But now you get 3 images, 3 colors, sorry. So that's pretty cool. Right, back to the changelog. So there's also the same options for your main element, your container element. So I'm not going to show you that, but that's that. And then what we've got here, list element, added indent option for lists. So like what I showed you just now on the fonts, you can do the same for lists. So I won't show you that because you can imagine how that's going to work. Right, September 28th, added 3 color variant support to gradient overlays for background and containers. So that's similar to that, just using background elements and container elements for overlays. And then we also had another gradient update on the 29th of September, added radial and is it conic styles? I don't actually know that word. Conic styles to gradient backgrounds. So this is just quickly flicking over to here. Right, so we've got radial and then we've got conic, if that's how you pronounce it. But just more options for gradients really. And obviously you can still remove your third option if you want to. So you can have a little play around with them. Oh, I did actually make one down here, didn't I? This was meant to be the example for that. There we go. Are we all in a dream? What a question. Right, moving up. October 5th, Halloween. So we've got jack-o'-lanterns, aka pumpkins, as I call them, and spiders. Preview animations button now previews both on-load and on-visible animations. Right, so let's flick over to here. So what I've done here is on the background, I've set an on-load fade in for this red color here. And then if you just preview it, it's just gonna preview it in the browser basically, rather than you having to go and publish the site and then view it as you did before. Recently uploaded images can now be re-edited to fine-tune cropping, effects, and other attributes. So what that means is, so this is an image of me that I created using profile pictures AI. I think I was just messing around with some AI the other day. So this is a more handsome AI version of me. Right, so if you go into, so I've uploaded the image and then you just go into edit, and then it allows you to basically just re-edit it, so you can crop it to whatever size you want. I mean, I just tend to just use the full width one because I just don't like to change images within Card, but if you want to do that, you can. One thing I have noticed is that this doesn't stay forever, so at some point it won't allow you to edit it anymore, but I don't understand what the parameters of that are. But just bear in mind that you may not be able to edit the images if you keep uploading more and more images, but I guess just delete it and re-add it. That would do the job. Right, next we have 11 new icons. What do I recognize on here? Audible, Meetup, Sears, Target. I don't know why you'd have Target on there. Well, I don't know. Why did anyone want to use the Target icon? Let me know. We had Walmart last time, and I don't get it. Anyway, what's your favorite store? Okay. Next up is added reverse option to gradient backgrounds. Right. So what this means is, if we go to our last gradient, is we have just got the option to reverse here. So that's just inverting the the gradient basically, and that's going to be applied to gradient backgrounds, gradient overlays for backgrounds, main element gradient backgrounds, container gradient backgrounds, and container gradient overlays, just everywhere basically, but they like to just list them as single features. Added view site action to menu. So if we jump over to cards, so what this is just this button here that just allows you to open up your site in preview basically. You need to obviously have the site published already, otherwise the button won't be there, but I have published the site, so if we click that, all it's doing is just opening it up in a new tab for you, which is a useful new feature. Right, back to the changelog. Added order option when using a staggered on visible animation. Now this applies to button, gallery, icons, links, list, and timer. So if we go over to my examples, so this is a gallery of 6 AI images of me. So we've set to on visible, I've set it to flip forwards, and then I've set the order to random. Now this is really cool because when you press the replay button, it just randomly loads the images in any order. And I wonder if it does it 1, 2, yeah. So that's just, it does it literally every time. It's completely random. So you're always going to get a different experience. I really like that. I think that's cool. And that, yeah, obviously applies to lots of other elements as well. But I think in the gallery element, it works best. Next up, we have template number 159. And October 27th, added serve locally option for fonts requires pro standard or higher. So in Europe, we have GDPR, and I think there's some like privacy laws in Canada, maybe some new privacy laws come into the US in general. Google Fonts sends information like IP address and stuff back to Google, which can cause an issue with GDPR in Europe. So what Card have now done is, so if you go into the settings at the bottom here, you've got fonts served locally. So all that's going to do is make sure that the fonts are loaded on the website from when you go to the site rather than getting them from Google Fonts. That's a really like non-techie way of explaining it, but that's basically what it's doing. So if you're worried about not having to put like cookie policies on your website or something, serve the fonts locally. Great update. Okay, we have another template. This one's cool, like that. More icons. Do I recognize any of them? No, I don't recognize any of them. There we go, a winner. Another template. More fonts. So you know where the fonts are. And we've still got another font update to come. Very exciting. It's my favorite update. Okay. Template 162, template 163, template 164, more icons. And then 14th of November, added scroll point next, previous, first, and last for scroll points. Right, I couldn't get this to work properly, but let me try and do it. So what I've done is I've set up a next scroll point button and given the URL as scroll point next, which is what it says here. Scroll point next is there. And then what I've done is I've put a scroll point here, and then I've put another button called previous scroll point, and I've given the URL scroll point first. So it will go to the first scroll point. You can also do previous, but I couldn't get it to work at previous, and I can't get it to work at first either. But I'm going to show you anyway. Right, so let's just preview the site. So if we scroll through, so what it should do, watch this animation again. Love that, love it. Right, I'll scroll down as well. I did some more here. I think that's good. I did another one here. Oh, all the same. Right, so next scroll point. Okay, so that did go down to the next scroll point, but then you press previous and it should go back to the first one. So I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or it's a bug, but who knows. But it kind of works. That's the gist of it anyway. Right, where are we? More fonts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 new fonts. So you can view the fonts.card.co or the big font update coming. And then we have another template 165. Right, November 20th. We're nearly at the end now, guys. November 20th, gallery element, added columns option to fixed style. Right, so if I go over here, go to here. Right, so what this is I think is this one, is it? So we have an option for fixed here. And then you have the option to select the number of columns that you want, which I think is pretty cool. So I went with 6 here, and it kind of just like shrinks all the images. Or down here, did the same, fixed, but did it in a single column, so it's just staggered them like that. I think that looks nice. I really like that. And then there's added column options to fix for style mobile settings. So you just got the same options, but you can just determine whether you do it for mobile or desktop, or if you have mobile sets auto, then it will just do the desktop settings. Cool. Right, next up. Okay, this is the one, my favorite one. This is a feature that AJ, the founder of Card, has admitted was one of the very, very first features that was requested back in like 2017 or something, when Card was originally launched, which I find hilarious. They've finally done it. Now, this does interfere very much so with my massive fonts website that I've made, because it means that people probably won't use it as much anymore. But I'm just happy the feature's finally here. You know, I built fonts.card.co years ago to serve the purpose of people being able to find all the fonts, what they look like for Card, rather than having to you know, go and search them or just display them one by one. But now what we have finally is a font selector where we can actually see what the fonts look like, which is great. And then what happened was, you used to be able to go in this font finder and then just search on the keyboard for the font that you wanted. So just type the letters in and it would go down. And then with this new feature, it got taken away. And I was like, no, that's like the best feature. So I tweeted to AJ on Twitter, obviously. And he just said, yeah, we're going to fix that. And then like 2 days later, he fixed it. And I was like, that's amazing. So what you can now do, so let's say I wanted to search for Work Sans, you can just type it in and there it is, Work Sans. Boom. Excellent. Right, next we have some more icons. Then we have some snowflakes. I like how they're adding different patterns for the seasons. We have pumpkins in October. We've got snowflakes in November, ready for Christmas. Good, very good. Yeah, and this was the font selector now supports keyboard input, which is just bringing back the old feature basically. But that's really great. And then last, we have come to the end. Finally, last but not least, is the icons now have the same work done to them as fonts did. So let's flip over to here, scroll to the bottom where I put some icons. And what we now have is we just have a little preview of all the icons on the side, which is great. I mean, it's not that useful for the different company ones, but if you go to the top where you've got different like apparel and art and calendar and cancel and stuff, you can just see what they look like. So I find that incredibly useful. Obviously everyone needs to put their fax number on their website these days, because that's very important. But yeah, that's it, guys. I hope that was interesting. It's a quick roundup. One last thing, I did promise to give away a Card Pro account in the last video, and I just can't figure out a way of doing the giveaway. So what I'm going to do, the first person to comment their Twitter account handle in the comments below will win a year's worth of Card. So what you need to do, just put your Twitter account, and the first person, I will reach out to you from my Twitter. My Twitter is Alex Andrews, so it's ALXANDRWS. I'll put that in the description as well, so make sure you receive a message from me and not like a spam account. But yeah, if you're the first person to comment, you have won. Congratulations, and I'll message you. Anyway, thanks for sticking by, and I will see you guys in the next one.